Hello, everybody. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Adobe Live. I'm Andrew Hockrattle, and over here next to me,
Hi, I'm Amy, head of Hoodzpah.
we did it. We did it.
We did it.
So today we're doing a community Q&A, which basically just means we're going to be talking and answering your questions. If you are in the chat, let's put some questions in there for our friend Amy. I see you. Hi, Laura. Hi, Alessandra and Anika. If you're watching the replay, hi, it's good to have you. Amy, what can people that are watching this replay and only this replay do to see what we've been doing this week? What else have we been doing this week?
Okay, what else have we been doing? Definitely go to YouTube and check out the playlist for this type bootcamp week because we did taking a sketch of lettering from sketch to vector. We did tips for pairing fonts. We did customizing fonts. What else? Oh, just like really quick little hacks, which I hate to say, but little, cheats on how to make lettering quickly in Illustrator. We've had fun, and hopefully it was helpful.
Yes, it was really fun. So if you guys don't know, I was running production behind the scenes, and there were moments where Amy was doing things and I'm sitting in my chair just like freaking out. So hopefully you all had the same reactions. The things that got me shearing individual anchor points was like
Isn't it great?
life-changing.
When I figured that out, I was like, say what now?
Yes,
surely
especially
not.
because it will shear when you sheared a like semicircle on like the inside of the
Yeah.
E. That's what got me, because I was like, that is so hard to do, to adjust those points to a shear.
Yes.
And being
So
able to just like
yeah.
move it, please.
Yeah.
Wild. And yes, hi everyone. I'm here. I don't know why chat is like. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't on anything. Yes, I'm here. Hi chat.
They're starstruck.
That's it. Oh, and we have another friend in chat. I think B is here.
B Morgan is here.
B. Morgan.
Hoodzpah's finest.
We got it.
Here to support. I have to be honest. I was like, babe, please get in chat. If the question's lull, because people submitted some, but if the question's lull, please just ask anything.
Yes.
And she was like, okay.
That's it.
What are sisters for if not that?
We also have Dennis saying the width tool did that for me. That was a big one with chat, 100%. So,
a great one.
chat, we're going to hop in. We're going to do some Q&A. I have some questions that I want to talk about, but if you have questions that you want to talk about Amy Hood, about Hoodzpah Design, about sports, about whatever you
Lettering,
want.
typography.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead and drop those in chat. And Amy, let's go ahead and just give the quick overview. What is Hoodzpah Design? What do you do? Who are you?
The short bio. Let's see. Basically, we are a type design and brand identity studio based in Southern California, and we mainly focus on visual identities like logos, logo systems, type and color, how that plays out in the visual brand system. And we've gotten to work with some really amazing companies like Nike and 20th Century and Disney, and we make fonts. Making the fonts thing has been really cool, though. That's been something that we delved into. Our first one was with Dustin Lee and Retro Supply Co. It's called Palm Canyon Drive. And I was like, no one's going to want a font from us. And he was like, I think they will. And sure enough, they did. They liked the font. I don't think they cared it was mine, but they just liked the font. And it was like a pretty big success. And it's been used everywhere. Like Lizzo used it, Taylor Swift used it, or at least their designers. I shouldn't say they did. But I don't know if they're as invested in design as like John Mayer was, but yeah, it's been really cool. And that's been an amazing way to like put our lettering skills into a product that can make us money ongoing. So it's not just like a piece of lettering that you create once and then that's it. Usually the client owns the copyright. It's like, that's ours. People can use it. People can take it and make something cool. And it's been like the most rewarding thing, seeing how designers use our fonts. Every day I look at the hashtag hood fonts and I'm like, blown away.
Yes, if you use it, hashtag hood fonts. And just my suggestions as we go into the holidays, this right here, Beverly Drive, this is the holiday font. There's no, actually, you all are going to see it on Adobe Live at the end during our holiday special. We created a bunch of animations last year and we're reusing that branding this year.
I loved those.
And it's just going to be so fun and warm and cozy. And this just feels like there's a fire next to it somewhere. Like it just feels so cozy.
It does. It does. I love it. I know we love making script fonts. It's like, I found that there was like, I could never find the right script fonts that I want. And so we started making our own. And I think that's a great way to kind of see like, what's something that I should make? What's something that would do well? It's like, well, what are you always looking for that you feel like is lacking? So I don't know.
Yes, brush scripts. That's
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like we all settle for scripts. Like it's never like exciting. Like we all seem to just settle. We're like, yeah,
Right. You're
I
like,
guess
this one will be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So I do want to ask a question about the type stuff. So when you introed, I thought it was interesting that you said that your type design in branding. When did type design become like marquee for you? Because I feel like Hoodzpah for a long time was like branding, illustration, and now it like is a big marquee thing.
Yeah, I think it's when we realized that we were better at it than we thought. Usually you start making your own lettering because, again, you can't find what you want as you're scrolling for fonts, or there's something custom that you're looking to do. And we started by just kind of like customizing typefaces that existed. It's like, whether you're making a logo, you're adjusting to make it more unique and more ownable. And then, it came to like, I could do this. I could draw some letter forms, and you start doing that for a few projects for yourself. And it's just so rewarding. And, we always did like, in high school and, when we were growing up, bubble lettering and drew our own Christmas cards. And, I did sign painting for a while. So it just made sense to kind of go there. And we just realized it was such a marketable skill that like not as many designers have, So it's like finding that niche skill that differentiates you from, your peers. And I think that was one thing that kind of started to shine through pretty quickly.
That's
Dana.
So go ahead.
Yeah, Dana in the chat said, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself.
Yes. And I love the journey of like, I don't think that I can do this. And then like however long later is like, oh no, that's the thing that I do. Like It's such a reversal, and it's just practice and like believing in yourself. I know it's like the like most cheesy thing to say, but like it kind of is. We do have a question coming in from chat. Have you made any typefaces that people built into actual blocks for letterpress? That's a great question, Colby.
Oh, that would be so fun. I haven't done that yet. We get posters letterpressed a lot here with some local printers called SAR Press. And I just love going in and seeing the Heidelberg presses. Like, I think it's amazing. We do letterpress prints, but I've never done like the wood block or like actually had something like machine cut, punch cut into metal before. And I think that's a great goal. I'm going to add that to my list of Hoodzpah goals for the next few years.
I've seen people doing letterpress, but it's 3D printed, which I think is so interesting. So like they'll do the like type or whatever, and then they'll 3D print that as a sheet, and then you use it as like a letterpress. And I was like, that's so smart and weird and different.
And that's so smart. Oh, right? I love that.
So this is just a story for you because I know I like stories. Also, this is going to be a very casual stream to everyone that's watching, as you can tell. So do you know where the term out of sorts comes from, right? I feel like people don't say it now, but like I feel like our moms say it, that it was like, oh, I'm all out of sorts.
Yeah, right.
So out of sorts comes from that letterpress idea that Colby, you were referencing. So each individual little piece of type was called a type sort. And so when you were laying out a newspaper page, if you didn't have any E's left because you used them all in a story about like Epiphany or whatever, it would be a big problem because you'd have to go cast more E's and it would stop production because you were out of that sort. And so it was a problem that you were all out of sorts, meant that you were missing a letter, you'd use them all.
I love that. Knowledge. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. And I love that when you go, like, there's I think it's Santa Fe Springs drive-in theater still exists. It's like the only one left in Southern California. But if they don't have like an E, they'll just like flip a 3 or use a 3 or something. And
yes,
you're like,
I love that.
They're making the most of it. And I love those kind of like human touches.
Yes, absolutely. So speaking of type and typography and learning type, you have something that is coming out that I believe is in the store right now.
It's in the store. We did a pre-order. Nice. We just printed, these. I feel like I'm always so bad about my typography terminology. Like I never call anything the right thing. And then when Jen and I are trying to talk about, the fonts that we're designing and how we need to tweak them or make them better, like we're never on the same page as far as terms. So I was like, let's make a cheat sheet just for us. And then it turned into like a full-on poster. And I was like, I'm gonna print these up for anybody else who also has trouble with this. So if you want to know the typographic terms and you're wanting a cheat sheet that's beautiful for your wall, we just released this poster. But I'll tell you what, this week on Adobe, the Type Bootcamp, I finally knew the terms. I finally called things the right things for once. So the cheat sheet works. I am a testament.
Yes. And again, the store, if you want to check things out, is just hoodzpahdesign.com/shop. My goodness, that double SH. Okay, this is my suggestion that is completely unmerited. I want a variant of this that is just like the things that we call it, so that it's like just like swoopy and like
squiggly bit.
Yeah, letter hole. Like it's just exactly.
Letter hole. That's hilarious. Oh
all right, chat. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in there. I did see one go by. Let me scroll real quick. It was a technical question, so this is gonna be a quiz, I guess, for you, Amy. Okay. It was about the width tool. Okay. Can you restrict the adjustment on the width tool between certain anchor points?
You would have to add another, width point. So, you just double click on your path wherever you want to add that width profile point, and you can set it. And I have to do that sometimes if I want it to get thinner sooner, or you can just move the points that you have and kind of adjust where they're at, and maybe that'll help. So.
Yep. Yeah. And I think you can put as many different vertices points along that as you want, right? You can just like big, small, big, small.
You can go to town.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go to town.
Real wobbly fonts.
It can get messy.
Okay, so let's talk about your journey as a creative. I think that people see you now and have this perception of like amazing designer, like always wanted to like do graphics and was always just like on computers and stuff. That's not your story. Can you give everybody like a little bit of backstory to like how you got into creativity?
Definitely. I hear this all the time on podcasts when I like listen to my peers that I respect. I listen to their podcast appearances, but I feel like everyone has some sort of form of like, I was the kid that everyone picked in class for the project because they knew I could draw. So I always had a team for the class project. So I found it as a way of like social currency. Like I really was a nerd when I had braces for 5 years and my mom dressed me till I was in 6th grade. So like it was a little bit awkward for me. And, but you could always make friends if, you drew their bubble lettering for their nameplate, for their desk or something like that. So we were always really into art. We had our own comic books. We wrote our own little like kids books when we were young. We also had our own detective agency, but that's another story. I grew up just loving like art and drawing, and I thought I was going to be like a fine artist, like go to NYU and like have art in a gallery, like Bemis artsy.
Lots of turtlenecks.
Yes,
yep.
Of course. But I found that like you really have to have something to say. You really have to have like an ethos and a reason why behind your artwork. And I just would sit at a blank page and just wonder, what am I supposed to draw? And so having a client, when someone told me about practical art, like graphic communications, graphic design, I was like, this sounds great. They give you a prompt. This is all I want is a prompt. And then I can make something beautiful for someone. And I mean, Jen and I don't know if you were like this, Andrew, I feel like you might've been, but Jen and I were obsessed with advertising and marketing growing up. I didn't know it, but we had every commercial memorized. We would repeat it in the car on road trips. And I was just always obsessed with packaging and things like that. So I think it was inevitable that I would go to graphic design.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting to see, because I feel like it's rare that we get to see the moments that you do like more like traditional fine art stuff. But I love seeing sketches and kind of having that like, oh, this isn't just like design, let's sit on a computer. Like there's passion and skill behind this. And I remember we had you on CanceledCon and you did like painting, and I was like, what? And it's like, oh yeah, like painting is totally like, is that something you still do in your free time, or has design kind of taken over that? Do you try to merge them together? Like what's that look like for you?
Definitely. And all of my peers who I really respect, and I love the work that they put out because they're always exploring something new and always kind of leveling up their craft. They still have some form of, art or some form of creativity that they do just for them. And it's usually outside of a computer, or it's just, in a different program than what they use every day. They're usually trying to push themselves to be creative in a different way. So I have all kinds of weird hobbies. Like, for sure, I still paint, I still draw. I'm getting into chain stitching for a while. Jen's getting into quilting. Anything that I can do with my hands to be creative, even like baking. I find that it's such a great way to I don't know, create creative connections, I guess, in your mind, and just think about things in a different way. And you never know how that's going to affect your day job. The more you know, the more exciting your work is, because you have more inspiration to draw on from all the different parts of the world. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I really believe in like having artistic or creative hobbies outside of your day job. And it also just gives you confidence. You know, it can be really tough working with clients because they do get a say. They get a say, and they get to say when they don't like something. And that can be enough. It could be a great answer, and they could just say, you know what, it's a great answer, it's not for me. And you have to make the edits. So I gotta find the link for you all, but just look up on YouTube, Herb Lubalin PBS logo. And there's this like 2-minute clip where Herb Lubalin talks about like the 15 iterations he had to go through with the PBS crew to get the logo they wanted. And there were some rough options in the middle where he's trying to give the client what they want, but it's not quite working. And I think that was really humbling, was just like, okay, the client gets to say, and there's going to be a lot of iteration, and that's okay. Not everyone is the Paul Rand style designer where you get one concept and I hope you like it because I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah, this is what it is, deal with it.
Exactly.
So I want to talk about that idea a little bit of kind of what the client wants versus what you want. And there have been a lot of big projects, specifically with Disney stuff, that's been happening with Hoodzpah. And there seems to have been this dynamic that as you look through, that there was a lot of kind of success and failure, right? It's really great work that like it seems like you're super proud of, but like didn't make the final cut. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the process on working like stuff with this and doing so many iterations, being so excited and being like, oh no, it's not ours, and then eventually we got one, right?
Totally. I think I love the idea of how a movie gets made and just how many people are involved. Literally thousands of people. It takes thousands of people to make a movie, and Disney somehow nails it like nearly every time. They nearly always have like an above 90% Rotten Tomato score. Like that is an unheard of record. Like if that was baseball, it would be insane. They would think you're on steroids.
Yeah, about 900.
Yeah, like
I don't know if
amazing.
That's the number, but I made that up.
Right.
Sports.
It's amazing how many people go into making a film. And I think it's really humbling when you jump into that process, because you realize like there's so many other people that are also getting the same feedback of like, this isn't working, or this just isn't it. And I think it helps you kind of get out of your head instead of where you're working with just one-on-one with maybe like a smaller client. But we did a lot of, the way they work is they hire, different people, and everyone kind of presents concepts, and they may get like 60 to 100 to 200 concepts, and you just have to be okay with like, you may never hear that you got it or you didn't, and you will, but it's just, you have to be okay with the fact that there's going to be a lot of really talented people presenting, and it's just an honor to get to be in that pool.
Yep. Is that intimidating or exciting to be like, oh, they're like coming to me for my work, but like it's not just me, like I'm gonna have to like fight for it? Is it like insulting to be like, why do you need other people? Or is it like, all right, this is just how it goes, let's go for it?
It is interesting. There's certain industries where they've been around for so long that they just have a certain way of working. And I found that with our clients in the past too. Like some people, I just have to be like, this is how they work, and I'm going to adjust my process to better fit, because I really want to work with these people, So to me, I'm very competitive. I grew up playing sports, and I grew up in Kentucky and New York, where college basketball is life. And so to me, it's just like, bring it on. Like, I can win this. I'm number one. And I'm not number one, but you have to have that ego when you're going into it, that you're going to present your best work and leave it all on the court, and hopefully they'll pick something.
Yep, absolutely. If you're sticking around for office hours after this, one of my points that I always tell students is pitch it like you stole it. And it's just, you have to like, it's just like in my brain, it's like gone in 60 seconds that it's like, oh no, we can't drive there. Like we are punching it in a stolen vehicle down the freeway at 100 miles an hour. And that's what the client's hilarious. Gonna think. Okay, so a question coming in from Gyro in chat. Do you deal with imposter syndrome, or is there a moment where you got a specific client and you knew that you had made it?
That is interesting, right? And I definitely, there was a time when we first started, because we started back in 2011, and we really had no connections. We hadn't worked in an agency. I hadn't finished design school. I really didn't have any connections in the design world per se. So at one point we met some friends from Twitter, And we all just met in real life. We realized we're in the same area. Like, why are we not hanging out? We should all meet up. And we ended up starting basically a Creative Mornings knockoff called Connecting Things, where we all meet up and we all hang out like once a month. And this guy owned an agency, and his name was Josh Ritchie. And he gave us just like a couple of subcontracting gigs. And he's like, you guys do great work. Do you want to work on this History Channel thing and this Google thing? And we were able to share the work because he was kind enough to say, yeah, just list the agency and then you can share the work. And I don't know what it is, but once you say you've worked with Google or History Channel, people just assume you know what you're doing, rightly or wrongly. Luckily, we did know what we were doing.
Yep.
But it is interesting how if you can get just like one logo on your logo carousel on your site of even a local trusted company, that just lends credibility for someone who doesn't know you from Adam to say, okay, they've worked with other brands. It turned out okay. No one left horrible Yelp reviews. Like, I can trust this person. So I think that was our moment of like, okay, we're doing good.
Yep.
This, we're good enough for Google. We're good enough for, Joe Schmo bagel shop down the street.
And I think you know this, but like that story continues with me. So like you met the people, started Connecting Things, got connected with Josh Ritchie. Then I went to Connecting Things. We started to become friends. And then you ended up giving me...
Did we meet at Connecting Things?
I think that we did.
That's crazy.
And then you ended up giving me the Red Bull project that we worked on after Connecting Things. And then that's gone on to allow me to get other things. So I think it's cool that like as a creative community, it's not just like, oh yeah, here's the OMG moment of like that imposter syndrome, like feeling like you made it, like shouldn't end on like, we've made it. It's like, okay, how do we like help someone? Like, how do we bring other people along for the ride? Which I think that you guys do so well. I mean, nice. It's exampled in this bootcamp this week, right? You're sharing all your secrets, trying to teach us all the things.
Totally. And I think that is it. I think it's easy to also, there's moments in your career where you're like on the high, where you're like, I'm the best, like no one can stop me. Like I'm LeBron, the LeBron James of design, and I'm not, but sometimes I think that way. And then the next day you'll be like, oh my gosh, like, should I just give up now? Have I lost all my ideas? Like, am I even doing anything interesting or relevant anymore?
Yes. What is a computer?
Yeah. So in those moments, it's like when you're on that high, you have to have that remember, like, I don't want to get out of touch with the fact that I need to be constantly learning, and I don't know everything. I still, other people's opinions are still valid. And I still need to be taking feedback from my team members, my peers. And then when you're in the lows, just remember like, hey, we've done great work. Like go back and think about the wins from a couple months ago when you were riding high, Yep. So So
we've got a couple minutes left. We got about 5 minutes. This has flown by. Talking to you is always so fun. We just hang out. So here's a question for you to kind of land the plane here. We talked about you had your like moment where you're like, I feel like we've done it. Like we got the big client, whatever. Now you have like this roster, right? We're like 20th Century Fox, the Lakers, Disney, like you have the names, like you have the carousel on your website that's like, these are the people. Is there a next OMG moment that you're like, this would be the next level when we're like, we've made it and now we've like ascended to like the graphic design transcendent realm? Like, what is that project for you?
Totally. Okay. I have a few that's really interesting. I think nowadays the things that I'm interested in are like the things that are in the broader social consciousness. Like I like the idea of like, if I do packaging for like, like Nick Longo does, he does a lot of food packaging and he can just see that at any time. And there's like that's seen by millions of people and they're just average Joe Schmoes that get to enjoy it. I think that, that don't care. When I say average Joe Schmoes, I just mean they don't care about design necessarily, but they get to enjoy it, So to me, my next goal is like, the idea of like Herb Lublin redesigning the PBS logo, like some sort of cultural pillar like that. Like I want to be in charge of like helping someone refine and refresh their legacy, their logo that's been, in the world for a while and see what that process is like, like the Burger King rebrand, like just like your dentist cared about that rebrand. Like, so I think that doing something like that scale, I think would be such a joy. And I think we could totally tackle it. So.
Sweet. A design agency of the people. I love that. Okay, last question from chat that is a good one to close on. You've created this book, Freelance and Business and Stuff. If you guys want to check it out, great resource. We're going to literally talk about it on office hours in about 10 minutes if you stick around. Here's a question from chat that's just a great question for you. Would you ever think about making another book out of Freelance and Business and Stuff? Maybe one about typography?
oh, Jen really wants to do this. She has been saying we should do this for years. And I'm like, we're not there yet. I actually brought in all my books that I learned about typography from for the stream. Cause I was like, if anyone asks, I read, these are my teachers, is these books. So Karen Chang, Stephen Coles, Ken Barber. And I was like, I would want to make sure it was something that felt like it was adding to the conversation and not just like a rehash. But I definitely think there's room. So maybe, yes. Let's just say yes.
Maybe yes. Yes, eventually. All right, we have 1 minute left, and I love to do this as we end streams. What is something that you can give us for inspiration in the next month, going forward in our creative careers as we go into the holidays? What is something that you would want to say to the people to inspire us in our creative careers?
Oh, okay. Like don't forget to try new things. Don't forget to take the side path, a new path, because it's easy to kind of get in the humdrum of like, okay, I have to do this for work, and you kind of get in the routine. But it's like making time to play, and everyone says that, but it's so true. Making time to play and just make things for yourself and see what you like, and really start to hone in on your style, because I think that's when we really kind of hit our stride, was when we really started to, people could tell we were just sharing things that we loved.
Yep.
And it shows through. So it's like when you make you're like, oh, we have to do TikTok now. I'll make a TikTok, and it's like the most you can tell they just don't want to do it. It's like, if you're gonna do it, do it. If not, say you're not doing it.
Go for it.
So yes.
Sweet. So yes, do that. And my advice on that, the holidays are coming up. Your clients are going to disappear. They're not going to know that you're not working on stuff. Do some stuff for yourself. Have fun. All right. Thanks so much for joining us, Amy. We'll see you, I'm sure, another time here on Adobe Live. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Stick around for office hours. I'll be back in 3 minutes.